One. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fig Bellas, home of the big fella. How can I take your order? And
What?
we
started this already.
All right.
What the hell is happening?
Let's rewind.
all right, rewind. All right, here's the real one.
Here's the real one.
Yeah, here's the real one.
3 times.
What's up, big fellas? We're the Fig Bellas, home of the big fella, and here's our podcast.
Could I get
We
you
got
sweetie?
we got a good old special guest here today.
Yeah.
Let me introduce to you Bo.
Say a hi. Freeze it. I didn't expect the B to be so hot.
We're the Big Bellas. You gotta have that.
You gotta have it. I could feel the sound. God.
If you ain't bass boosting your words, what are you doing?
You ever just talk to your teacher and go?
If you don't spit in their face, what you doing?
Oh gosh. I got an old buddy from That's So Raven. Like shit.
Oh no. All right. Well, we got Marvin here again.
Oh, unfortunately.
Yeah. And we have Caleb here.
Hey, how's it going?
And
Wait,
we
Shut
have.
up, bro.
Alia, you didn't say my name. I just
I'm
wanted to
sorry.
be introduced, but hi. Okay.
Back at it again.
And I'm Abraham. So
Happy Saturday.
here's our second episode. We've got some nice spicy topics here.
Spicy top.
Weed juice.
First order of business.
2 squeezes.
Oh man, we got a couple trailers we gotta talk about.
Oh man, oh man.
Right.
Not again.
A trailer and a special look.
Yes.
What is a normal look? It's a special.
That's a good question.
Bro.
All right. We'll start out with Star Wars.
Okay.
Only
All right. So I thought I was watching a trailer,
Yeah.
not a recap of the first 6 movies. Actually, no, 8.
Yeah.
Last season on Star
And
Wars.
they did it like
Previously
in,
on Star Wars.
They did it for the actual release too, right?
The trailer was 2 minutes long, and the recap was over a minute. So I was wondering what in the world was going
It
on.
was like a
I
One Piece
enjoyed it.
episode or something.
Yeah.
I think they're just playing on better movies.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
That trailer evoked so many emotions. Was I the only one who was like creeped out, happy, and like somewhat relieved that Carrie Fisher was still there
Oh my
in the
God.
You
trailer?
literally think about that.
I was like, what the heck?
When I saw her, I was kind of like, this isn't right. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like I was actually looking at a ghost. Like even like when Jedi came out, she already had passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
she
Yeah.
just died.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, this is weird.
That
Yeah.
fucking move.
Yeah.
Back in the Mary Poppins.
that was so weird. I
that took me out of
can't
it.
get behind that part.
Honestly, it's not even the Force part that creeps me out or like throws me off. It's the fact that she's in space.
She was in space.
She was like, no.
Okay.
The worst thing is like, that's it. Yeah, you can do it. You can cut it off now. That's it. She's done. And
Okay,
then they're like,
okay.
actually, let's just Superman.
I mean, this Jedi never survived in space before.
Okay, but like on a TV show. And they were named Plo Koon.
No. Okay, I'm not gonna get into this. I'm gonna get mad.
All right, so back to the trailer.
Right.
Let's talk about some of the new shots that we saw.
Ray is OP as frick. I mean, that's like an automatic.
Oh man.
A
The
common
ending
thing.
got me. That's
Wait, let's take it in somewhat orders.
I'll come in for the ending.
So that first shot, they were on like a desert planet thing, and it was like it's almost like there was like a party or something going on. There's like these colorful things that like shot out and like exploded or something, and we
Yeah.
saw the gang together, and it should be interesting.
That was a Star Wars version of Burning Man. That's
Burning
it.
Man.
You don't know Burning Man?
Burning Man?
All right, your pop culture references aren't getting through to him. Let's just move on.
That was sad.
It was sad, I guess.
Anyways. All right. Do we know that planet?
No,
I
I don't
mean,
think they've named it.
It's a desert planet.
Trailer,
It
you know.
could be two things.
Jakku and Tatooine.
Jakku or Tatooine.
Sand.
And we're
Salt.
But
Did you really just quote the nobody who got shot in the face?
Of course. My favorite character. Yeah.
See, I don't know what this place is.
I don't know. It seems like a bit of a callback to episode 6, where they had the. Well, actually, I don't know. I doubt it's like.
I
at the end
doubt
of the
this movie is trying to be episode 6, just from what I've seen.
So my thing with the new trilogy, right, is that they're copying like the original trilogy, but not necessarily in terms of like in terms of shot for shot, like scene for scene type stuff. It's like it's thematically kind of similar. They have similar themes. So like the last one had a similar theme in terms of failure, like dealing with that. Same they had episode 5. So I feel like
There are also elements of 6 and 8 too.
yeah.
The whole trying to redeem Kylo thing, having to face the Emperor.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
just kind of all that. So I feel like with this one they're gonna try and like reapproach that. I seriously doubt it's gonna be as cheery of an ending as episode 6 was.
I think it's gonna be cheery. I guess they still gotta sell toys at the end of the day. They can't
Look,
just slice everyone in half and call it a day.
Ray had Maul's saber.
That shit was upgraded.
Yeah.
I know that did the flipperoo.
Yeah, butterfly knife.
But that freaking
Pretty much.
the hilt itself is so big compared to the blade. Like,
Yeah.
And then when it's cut, it's like almost like a gardening instrument, but it's like a lightsaber or something. Like this is what
Right.
you're gonna cut with your hedges now or something like that.
It's got like a surprising amount of like applications in like actual combat. I was kind of impressed. Like the lightsaber design and then like the new trilogy has been kind of impressive.
Okay, the Crusader blade's sick.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
An exhaust port thing is wild.
I'm about to say, like it's just good. It's just good saber design.
So there's also that
That's nuts.
there's also that shot of the whole freaking First Order is coming in with all they got with those Star Destroyers.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Is that the first? Or no? What is it? The Knights of Ren gonna be in this?
More than
Yeah.
likely, yeah.
Yeah, we saw him
They
in the
really
trailer.
just left
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the shot you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's so funny, like, because the shot before is like the Resistance, and it's like these few ships, and then
It's like you versus the guy she tells you not to.
The
worry about.
the boys versus the U.S. government.
exactly.
Like honestly, it's just a bunch of X-wings against an entire battalion.
It's
of
not
French.
even like
Yeah.
a bunch of X-wings.
It's
It's
insane.
like Dave and Pete.
Yeah, pretty much. That's just Red Squadron, It's just, gosh, but yeah, it was a really good shot.
It's always gonna look good.
It's
I mean,
C-3PO with the eyes. I need to know what's going on with that.
I could care less.
I mean, yes, but no.
I mean, like, how much could they do with that?
I mean, is it even C-3PO? Does he have the red arm?
It's a very good. I thought
Oh, that's a good question.
he doesn't have the red arm
C-3PO
anymore.
needs a redemption arc.
Because what, in
But
episode
R2-D2?
5,
No.
there's a
No,
silver
but he's
droid
gonna
that looked
be
like
in the movie.
C-3PO.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him.
In the
So-
trailer, it shows he got his arm back.
Oh,
so-
for Rick?
Yeah.
For Rick?
Oh.
Bam, redemption arc. We're done.
Caleb needs a redemption arc.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I am a little slightly under the weather, some seasonal stuff.
No, it's fine.
My better.
It was a very small shot. I understand.
So if my vernacular gets kind of, that's why.
It's fine.
You can't wait to hear that.
Yeah. So, this actually, it reminds me of episode 3 when Vader was getting fully constructed and they were lifting him up.
Oh, and God.
But it's
I'm trying to compare C-3PO.
it just reminded me of that. It's like C-3PO becomes a Sith and he just
Alright,
rises.
Caleb just confirmed it. C-3PO is the new Darth.
Have you guys heard about the Darth Jar Jar Binks thing?
Oh
Shut
my
up.
God.
Shut up. The door's right there.
Oh, dude, that.
That's the most disrespectful.
Oh, it looks like they're destroying another planet.
Another
Back
planet.
at it again.
I swear.
Back at it again, destroying some
If I
planets.
see another like star system destroying or planet busting thing that floats in space,
Big beam
I
thing
might
that
walk out
doesn't
the
move.
theater.
What if all the Star Destroyers get together like Voltron? Giant.
That would be it. That's how you finish Star Wars. All of the X-Wings make a little one.
If this actually happens, I swear.
Gurren Lagann glasses come on.
God.
Who the hell do you think I am?
Pulls out lightsaber just gets super long
Oh
for
my
no
God.
reason.
Oh, great.
So I've heard things. I know Daisy Ridley said, and it's kind of a small thing, and it kind of makes sense that like the battle between her and Kylo in this movie is probably one of the best lightsaber duels we've ever seen.
I mean, they've already made some of the best lightsaber
They've-
duels.
yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Like, it's.
The Kylo and Rey fight from the last movie was easily one of the
The
best.
choreography was very good.
Incredible.
Pretty frank, alright.
And the thing is, like, it's not even like lightsaber be lightsaber in that one.
No, it's just like a bar fight, but
Yeah.
you throw people in a blender.
So I feel like
All right,
Mhm.
we'll take that.
You've never been
Yeah.
in that bar fight?
So I'm almost getting
Well.
like, in terms of scale, this is gonna kind of feel like Episode 3 Obi-Wan Anakin, but like water version and not lava.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, that's what I'm
Hey.
saying right now.
Yeah.
That's a good callback.
Uh-huh.
That's literally all the tension removed. They could have just caught fired anymore. Now they're just gonna get a little wet.
That fight was so ridiculously, stupidly epic.
Honestly.
It was like a firework came up with. It's like,
I just remember the
And they
scene-
started spinning around the
Yeah,
lightsaber.
yes, and they hit each other, and I'm like, what?
It's so freaking epic for no reason. It is so dumb. I love it. I love it so much.
It's everything I hate and love about the prequel.
standing in a pit of lava like two little drones and just flipping to nothing. There's nothing. They're not even near each other.
They
They're
just
just
started
flipping.
spinning around.
They're not even trying to hate each other, dog.
It's like
Oh
shooting
my
stars,
God.
but
It's so ridiculously choreographed, but it's
Yeah.
so great. I don't know why I love it, but I do.
Mhm.
They worked so hard. No
You know,
reason.
like how people have like the light up hula hoop stuff, and they do like this stuff around their bodies or whatever, and
Mhm.
they're just
Yeah.
sitting there all mesmerized. Like that's what it's like
That's
watching
Yeah.
those fights.
It's kind of just hypnotic. You just turn your brain on. Like,
Yeah,
that's
you
nice.
It's like Hawaiian fire dancing.
I really like episode 3.
Oh yeah.
That's like, it's
Alright.
up there.
It's the best
best of the
prequel.
prequels.
Yeah.
It's definitely the best prequel,
Oh.
and I would argue is one of the best Star Wars movies, but whatever. I know
It's
people
out there.
won't.
If the
People won't
acting
agree
was
with
better,
that.
I would have liked it a lot more.
I don't think the prequels
Mhm.
themselves are good movies, but I feel like I appreciate what they did for the series in terms of developing Anakin's backstory, and albeit I guess the political drama does get a little trite and boring at times, but it's at least logical and you can follow it,
Mhm.
and to that extent, I appreciate them actually giving something that's somewhat realistic to
Yeah.
how the Star Wars started.
Yeah.
So,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
so I feel like that's my main,
That's why it's called that.
that's my main reason why I really like episode 3, because I feel like it brought those aspects together. Although it does have its bits and pieces of being cringe and
Yeah.
not good, but I don't know. I really like it.
If you aren't with me, then you're
My enemy.
Oh my God.
But it shows like everything.
Then
they
you already
could've
have
been.
lost.
Like it shows how cool
You're
Anakin
hurting me,
could have
Anakin.
been, and it just was awful.
But then the Clone Wars.
Anakin, let her go.
He really did nothing. I thought about that. He's like, oh god, he's strangling her. God, if only I had
He could
powers.
have like used the Force on his arm or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
He could have just like walked up, and he would have been okay. I'll stop. He just sat there. Was like, yep, okay.
He killed the younglings.
Oh,
Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?
It's hilarious. He was literally trying to keep himself from laughing.
Oh,
I wouldn't be
gosh.
able to.
The only time child.
But the last two frames or shots, or I guess, yeah, the last two shots of this special look, that's what's got the internet on fire right now.
We're
Yeah.
buzzing.
I thought that was a meme. I thought that was edited before I even like saw the trailer.
So like I loved it. When I saw this, I was like, yes, because
Oh.
in episode 8, what I wanted to happen, I wanted there to be a switcheroo. I wanted
Oh.
Rey to go evil, and I wanted Kylo to come light, because I just thought that would be
Yes.
really interesting. And so I don't know if they're gonna do that here, but I mean, even if you think back, like I remember when Rey was doing like her first lesson with Luke, and she was trying to feel the Force or whatever.
yeah.
And she saw the little like dark hole place that she would go to later in the movie, and Luke was like, "Yo, you went straight to the dark, like you didn't even resist." And so I always thought that could have been explored a bit more, and so I'm really hoping that they exploit this here.
Yeah.
No, I think they did that because it's like she still wants to know what her parents are and all that, and then they explain it's like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like they're nobody,
doesn't
but like what
matter.
matters is now.
Whatever
It's
you
like, wow,
do.
that's really good.
Is
Have
it
I-
mad?
Have you guys heard the clone theories?
Oh god.
What are those?
So-
Oh boy, here we go.
So a
Here's
lot
a
of
tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
So there's a theory going around saying that Rey is a clone, and that this dark Rey, whether or not we don't, this Rey that we see at the end of this trailer, may be the Rey that we know, or it may not be, but they're all like clones of each other. And so maybe like the Rey that we know was like escaped or something from the Emperor's grasp. Like I've been hearing things how like people are saying that maybe Rey is like the combination of like all of like several Force users from the past. Like saying that maybe Palpatine like I don't know like found like Luke's hand that was cut off or something. Put it in there.
Just at the bottom of the page, just push it around.
Alright, I'ma head out.
And so she's like,
Spill some chemical X.
but like, it
Chemical
makes sense,
X.
right? Because like she's OP as frick for like no reason, but if she's like filled with all this stuff, it makes sense. And then in the cave, where all she saw was herself, if she's a clone,
She
this
really
makes
did.
more
Oh
sense.
my
Yeah.
god.
I
People
I can
just say
subscribe to
clones to anything, and it's nonsense.
I can
So-
actually, I could kind of vibe with that actually, because it's the same thing that they did with like Kylo striking down his true enemy. You know, it's like she came from nothing, but like she really did come from nothing. I would like that personally.
It's just the Force Unleashed too, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Rest in peace.
And that was a big
Oh,
thing
man.
that happened.
That was a gem. That was a gem.
The first one,
The first one's
yeah,
fine.
it's great. The second one,
You just hit square.
You just
Hit
hit
square.
square.
heavy every now and then. And then,
Do you even have to hit that?
and then Force Lightning if you want to look cool.
If you want to feel cool.
I like the when he did like a
Cell
freaking
phones.
explosive wave or whatever. That was awesome.
Oh yeah. Ah, dude, what a great game, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's beside the point. We're talking
Alright,
about
yeah,
movies.
the trilogy. Yeah, what else is there? I guess with 1 minute of footage, that's kind of all we got to go off of today.
I'll tell you what though, I appreciate that they actually managed to take the best parts, like the best shots of all the other movies, including the prequels.
You notice they only did like 8 seconds of the prequels.
Yeah, but they showed us all the parts that we liked, so I don't know.
That's real sad. It's not about that. They were like, we have all the technology, we're gonna make the best CGI, and then they used none of it because they were horrible.
Also, that linking shot on Mace Windu, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh, you're trying to say something.
I don't know,
Would
man.
you like to say with your chest?
Polite.
I mean, from the looks of it, they've either shown like shots of characters who were a major part in like the past couple movies, or like will potentially be a major part, like Palpatine stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mace Windu maybe had a cameo or something like
I
that.
really want him back. That would be so good.
Oh my
But it's
God.
like 60 years at this point, and he was already kind of old.
Yeah.
I really thought it was interesting how they showed this in theatrical order and not chronological order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the originals first, then the prequels, and then the sequels. So
Mhm.
this might just be, to me, this almost feels like it's more like fan basey because it's like,
Yeah.
where were you when this came out?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
70% of it.
For the most part, yeah.
Mm-mm. Gosh, man, some really good shots on this.
Dude, the
Alright.
binary sunset.
Oh,
Easily
one of my favorite cinematic shots
Of all
Oh,
time.
of all time.
What a great
And the score is just.
Not fair. It's really just not.
All right, if we get into the original trilogy right now, we'll be here for hours.
Oh, man.
Let's talk about a really good trailer. Oh man, I guess the final Joker trailer.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I thought there were only 2 trailers. That's
Yeah.
why I was
Yeah.
confused.
Thank God.
Hey, I'm cool with that. I'm ready to just sit back and enjoy it in theaters.
Of course, me too.
That looks beautiful. Like well, some of the articles that I've read with where the director wanted to go with it, he wanted it to be more of a character study and like not canon in the DC cinematic universe. Well, not
Yeah.
necessarily canon, but like not connected.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to know Jared Leto, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Great.
It was gorgeous. It looks like a character study, and I'm really interested in getting to know Joker.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
Man.
digging the grittiness of it because I
Yeah.
read somewhere they're basing it off of Scorsese's filmmaking. Like I just watched Taxi Driver over the summer, and it looks very similar to. That's about like a freaking psychopath. But oh yeah, well there you go. And it's very very similar, and like how he uses browns and just the dirt of the city, and it just feels gross.
The green, I like the green in it. It's like grimy, it's like that 80s New York thing, where it's just horrible. It's just the worst.
Everybody in that trailer is an asshole for no
They really
reason.
are the worst.
dangerous.
Yes.
And I love how they play with your expectations about everything.
Mhm.
Like, if you go scene for scene, I can bring up a couple of examples. For one, they have the Joker walking out of the room, and you just see him just laughing, and then all of a sudden just straight face.
That's so good.
His
It's
laugh was
so
great.
good.
He does it like so loud, and then he's just nothing, just no fear.
Yes, you don't know how to react to that because it's so unnatural. It's so unnatural, but so good for his character.
Honestly.
And then another example was when he was looking at the TV. I suppose he's a aspiring comic
Yeah.
in this film. So he was looking at the TV about someone giving him a review about his comedy, and
Robert De Niro.
I did not know he was in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Netter Scorsese not there.
Oof. And yeah, from there you see like him give his routine and whatnot, and then no reaction from the crowd, and it's
Yeah.
just like, ooh.
I'm thinking like, why would this guy pick on some random like local comedian like this on like national television
Yeah.
or whatever they're broadcasting this? This is kind of like that's kind of low.
But it's like a thing that people do now. Like they do-
Really?
There's YouTube channels where people just destroy small children.
Oh
It's
well, I'm talking
incredible.
like, let's say like Jimmy Fallon one day, like took like a film from like some local like stand-up shop, and this guy like is bombing, and puts it on like his screen and says, "Look at this guy." that's what that feels like.
That's
Tosh
Yeah.
0.0 did that stuff.
Hmm?
Tosh, you ever watch his show?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Daniel Tosh.
Yeah,
Oof.
he was.
He was
a person.
ruthless.
That's low.
Yeah. That's tough. Not to.
But I think this is like it was one of my favorite Joker arcs. This was originally like canon and cartoon, where his life is just going to shit. And I forget what the cartoon was called, but I really wish I could remember what episode it was. It was a Batman cartoon.
Yeah,
From
Batman
Batman
animated
animated
like
series.
the old style.
I don't know the episode. I know like the show, but I don't remember the episode.
Mm.
But his life was just going to shit, and it did such a good job at making you feel so sympathetic for like the worst person
Yeah.
who did
Yeah.
all of this shit. It was ridiculous, and I like that it makes him seem like scum in this movie, but like there's a reason why he's like just so crappy and whatnot, and he matches like the whole dirty undertone and like color palette of the trailer. It's really nice.
Yeah, and his delivery of that line, like, all I have are bad thoughts.
Yeah.
It's like, that was so poignant. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh.
The lady just does not care.
Yeah.
She's just like, all right.
I
She's just
didn't
doing her
see
job.
if anyone noticed. Is she from Arkham or is she some random
I
like
think he's just going to like,
some therapist?
what do you call this? Like right after you get out of jail, and then you have to go,
Like a halfway house.
not halfway house, but like you have to go in for meetings constantly. Especially
rehab?
the parole. You like talk to your parole officer. Yeah.
Mm.
Was he in prison?
I don't know.
Okay. I think it was just a therapist.
I thought, he said
But
he
he's
came
just-
back every week.
Yeah. She's
Right.
like, we can't meet anymore, blah, blah, blah. So, but yeah, I think later in the trailer it shows it's almost as if whatever he's doing is rubbing off on people.
Yeah.
And so I really like that aspect that, you know, he's turning the city like in on itself. And so he's spreading like madness, but he's
Yeah.
like finding himself in it at the same time. Because he really just wants like attention, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's a pretty. I'm curious. Like, I wonder if the movie. Am I going to be cheering this guy on, or am I going to be like relatively disagreeing with him? You know.
I really feel like it's gonna be both.
I
Yeah,
think
'cause,
he's
you know-
just like he's condemned, but like the whole city is horrible, so you just you
Right.
just attach yourself to him.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be better than Heath Ledger?
Oh, I honestly,
That's,
I think
that's
he's-
a high bar to set, but
I don't think he's gonna be
It's-
better, but I think he's gonna be great in his different direction. I really like that they're reinventing Joker,
Yeah.
especially after whatever Suicide Squad.
I think he's gonna be
the
most
right
unique
way,
one.
so it's-
well, now they're reinventing Suicide Squad.
We don't have to talk about that.
Shout out to James Gunn.
That movie really did exist.
They
That really was
They
a
really
movie.
made that.
I really paid to see that.
It didn't go direct to DVD.
Yeah, they took my money.
Someone saw it and thought we should still release this.
Oh man.
Honestly. Oof, oof.
They made a lot of money, didn't they?
Yeah.
I know.
It didn't reach
Yeah.
$1 billion.
And
Aquaman
you-
reached $1 billion.
I didn't see that.
Aquaman's a pretty okay flick.
It was a
Yeah.
good, but I'm saying like if Aquaman reached $1 billion and Suicide Squad didn't, I mean.
Well, the two consecutive trailers for Suicide Squad that came out, one was totally different than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they reshot a lot
I
of
know,
the
I
movie.
know. So if you see that type of inconsistency, you're gonna be like, well, this is crap. This isn't what I signed up for in the first place. So
Yeah.
everybody who was on board with the first trailer is just out.
Yeah.
The first trailer was great, and then
Yeah.
there's like an hour of the movie that is gone, and the
Yeah.
director refuses to like say that's true. But there are so many shots, and so many people have said that there is things
Yeah.
missing
Yeah.
that they have to change it like I think 3 months before, and they just re-edited the whole.
Exactly. The people who edited the trailer edited the movie. I was like, dang.
Don't get me started on the climax of that movie. The beam in the sky.
Oh my God, we're back to Beam in the Sky, baby. We did it.
When an enchantress like freaking ultra like city destroying thing gets wrecked with like some C4 or something like.
Wasn't it Viola Davis in that movie?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was
It
freaking
Just too good for that movie.
How did you waste
What?
her on that?
She was
Everybody
what's her
was
face?
super
What is her name? All the fanboys gonna be upset.
Margot
No, I
Robbie?
can't.
No, like her in-universe name.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Davis
about.
as Margot Robbie.
No.
I thought you were talking about somebody
I'm
else.
talking about
Amanda Waller.
yes,
Yeah.
Amanda Waller. There we
I
go.
thought
She
you were
was
talking
good in
about
that.
somebody else, my bad.
Yeah, but like they wasted Amanda. They wasted everything.
Did she die?
Yes.
Did she?
They were like, all right, we're gonna leave. She gets in the helicopter, they shoot it down, like, oh no! What are we gonna do?
Wait,
Alright.
Amanda Waller?
Yeah.
In the movie? She didn't die.
I'm
No,
pretty
but they
sure
shot
they
her.
like kidnapped her or something.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely
left
kidnapped her.
Mhm.
Oh,
Alright,
but yeah. 'cause
Wait,
she's-
back to joke.
Oh, right.
Okay, Phil, let's just talk about already. Even trailers, it's already a better film.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard for me to compare to Heath Ledger, but I feel like they both capture the same essence of the character, but exploring it in 2 different ways.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because the Joker was also really interesting in Dark Knight because how he bounced off Batman.
It was so
Yeah.
good. And
But we don't have a Batman
Yeah.
here, so
Now
we
it's
have
just
to
the Joker.
approach it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how that's done.
But I like that, because like Batman was like order and like all this, and he's bringing justice back, and then Joker was just like chaos, and he did chaos so well with Heath Ledger.
Honestly.
And then this one's just doing like slowly, like society's just turning this person into just a piece of
Yeah.
dirt.
They're just, I feel like Heath Ledger was more so chaos, and this one's just like insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so.
So,
I can't wait for this movie. Take my money
And
already.
it's at
When is it
Halloween.
coming
It's
out?
October.
Oh, I'll
The
take,
Oh, it
fourth.
comes out October 4th?
Yeah.
Cool.
oh, I'll take my money already.
Buy the tickets now, right?
If they're up now, let's go.
I can't wait for this freaking weekend. I've been waiting for It Chapter 2 for so long.
Is that
now.
this weekend?
Yes, it's September 6th.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm.
Oh, so
dead
next
serious.
weekend.
Yeah,
Oh,
next
okay.
weekend.
I was like,
I was
wait,
like, I'm
actually-
going today.
I was really looking free with it, but
Well, I mean, I need to rewatch. I've only seen the first one once.
I've seen it.
You need to rewatch
I need to
that.
rewatch that. It still sticks with me to this day.
It doesn't. It should not be as good as it is.
But
Like
it
everything
is.
about it, you're like this movie is just like Stranger Things, but like R-rated, even more R-rated. After season
Ooh.
3, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, we can't get into Stranger Things right now.
Yeah. But
There's a lot to unpack there.
And if you remove the clown, it's like a good growing up story. Like it's still good, and it's for some reason funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The composition of it, like Spider-Verse is amazing, but the composition of it reminds me of Spider-Verse because you have this backdrop of a whole like story that you're like used to and that you're gonna follow, but then the focus is like this is really just a coming of age story for a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's beautiful.
I didn't even think about that.
All right, let's talk about some more movies that we like. Let's talk about a couple Marvel movies.
Oh,
Infinity War and Endgame.
We're back.
They made some money.
Made some.
Made some money.
It took a lot of mine.
You described
Yeah,
like
went to
$5
see it a
billion
few
dollars.
times.
Just a few, you know.
My favorite thing about Infinity War was how they played off of the character dynamics
Yeah.
with the score.
Oh,
That was amazing. Like from the beginning, we know that like Iron Man and Cap aren't talking anymore, and
Yeah.
Hulk is like, "Fuck."
He's like, yo, just call him. And he's like, that.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
when Wanda and Vision need saving, Captain America comes in out of nowhere, and it's not his theme; it's the Avengers theme. He's the last one because the people he's with, like Scarlet. Whoa.
Scarlett
Black
Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson
Yeah, there
plays
we go.
Black Widow.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
And Falcon, they're just agents. They're just spies. They feel like
Yeah.
really detached. They weren't there from the beginning. Well,
Mhm.
Black Widow was, but she's like, her whole persona is like, I can detach from anything.
Yeah.
But that was
Secret
I just think that was
Avengers.
gorgeous.
You're so right about that. I mean, like when you see like just like the black outline.
Yes, and he just comes out of
Like,
nowhere.
I mean, I remember just in that trailer when he caught the thing. I remember rewinding that like 10
Oh.
times.
Oh, no, him running with his the two gauntlets.
Yeah.
Just
Oh.
running like that is my favorite shot.
Like with him and Black Panther.
Yes,
like,
and like the whole
charging.
four.
Fucking
Like I skipped ahead a
track
lot.
Track stars, dude.
Yes.
I will
That
say,
is-
like comparing, we'll talk about Endgame later, but comparing Infinity War and Endgame, I will say that what Infinity War has over Endgame is like it's such a tight, structured movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
hard.
And you
Like,
can
have
really
to.
pick it apart, like Act 1, 2, 3, and it's like everything like
Oh.
has a
It's
reason
so-
for everything.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I feel like we can't mention how the film the score plays in this film
Yeah.
without mentioning towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like it was impactful the entire time,
Yeah.
but that's when the nail just goes in the coffin.
That damn porch. I can't deal with it.
I mean, everybody's already cried their eyes out over Spider-Man at that point, and then
We're
you just
laughing.
get to the okay,
Alright,
and you
yo.
just get to that point, and you're just like,
Oh my gosh.
it's so heavy,
Yeah.
but it just contrasts that with the scene, and also Thanos and his character at that point. And also, it ties that all together with such a light and moving score that's played on top of it. And it's incredible. Like, one of my most memorable scenes, like, that's one of the most memorable scenes for me out of a movie I've seen.
Farmer Thanos sitting down at the end.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the thing I remember out of everything is like the lack of sound for when he gets the full like he's about to get the final stone.
Oh.
And just the
There's
silence and
nothing.
thunder.
Yeah.
You just like hear wind and there's nothing.
That's-
It's like Christ.
You mean
Even
like
that,
when he-
even that is so effective.
It's
Like,
so
Yeah.
good
You
because
mean when
you're
he
just like,
shows
oh
up
god.
the first time? Like
Yeah,
when he
like-
shows up. Okay.
When
Like
he
the
finally comes
sound
to
design.
Wakanda and they're trying like Vision is like go, and everyone's like the Titan fight just happened. Everyone's
Yeah.
just destroyed. He just destroyed a moon, like tossed it at a few kids.
yeah,
They're all-
the score of having no score for a scene is
No, it's so effective.
meta score.
In the MCU, almost every film has like this like kind of like played down music in the background, and this is like the one time where I remember just hearing nothing.
You just hear
Yeah.
like thunder in the back, and that's it. And it feels like you feel the heaviness. You
Yeah.
just-
I remember when he starts.
Because you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
what is about to happen?
Yeah.
Like I think, cause you think. I remember seeing the movie. And you're like, okay, this is like the final fight. Somehow they're gonna like come, and they're all gonna fight together and win. And they're gonna beat Thanos.
Yeah.
And then like.
Captain America had a shit rock, dude.
He's just like holding it. It's like he grabs it. It's like, what now? Like, what are you gonna do?
He's like-
I remember
It's
when
like, I never thought I'd get
Yeah, I
that.
I remember Thanos' confused face looking down like, what is he, what, like, why? Like,
It's just like stupid monkey.
Oh,
Hey,
It
the
just shows
Russo,
up like Frieza.
Hello, monkeys. Russo brothers really said they're gonna win unless.
Oh god.
Oh,
I feel like also, you could have tagged on maybe the first 10 minutes of Endgame to Infinity War.
That's actually what that was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That first scene with Hawkeye was supposed to be the final scene of Infinity War.
Oof.
damn. I wish it was.
That's what I think. I think if they ended the like not showing anyone else start to disappear, like that's how they started.
It would have distributed like the time a little bit better too. Like,
I mean, I was fine with sitting in Endgame for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Twice.
It didn't feel like 3 hours. It didn't feel like 3 hours at all,
It didn't.
really. I mean, it just felt like your normal Marvel movie. Like,
It felt like a saga.
just, you know. Yeah, well, yeah,
It deserved that time.
Yeah.
for sure. And
Wasn't the original cut like 7?
Huh?
7 hours?
It was
those
something
movies,
it was
yes.
something ridiculously long that they had to cut down to 3 hours.
I know it was like maybe like 3.5
Yeah.
or something. And they
There's
cut
a
it
lot
down.
of footage they cut out, like the scene where
They
the
just-
scene where Tony Stark, like, he goes into the Soul Stone and he like sees his daughter in the future or whatever, and
yeah.
she's like, "It's gonna be all right." Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Whoa.
I saw it on like the what's it, the John Campea podcast. Like the Russo brothers were talking about it. Yeah, they completely cut that out because I mean, where were you gonna fit that made like thematic sense?
I mean, I don't care about sense at that point. That's sad as hell.
Yeah. And then the movie made sense. but
I mean, the ending was already sad enough. Don't make me waste any more tears.
When Disney steals my money and tears.
Right,
I
and
remember-
the deletes.
I remember like when the Infinity War ended, that to me is when I was like, the score came in because I was like, this is sad. And I was like, I feel like I just like watched like a Shakespearean drama, like a tragedy just occur or something.
Honestly.
Like,
Yeah.
It's like the lowest moment you could have.
Yeah.
Like them losing, like you think like, oh, they lost in like Age of Ultron for a bit, but then they won at the end. So like I feel nothing.
Like I didn't feel good after that movie. Like I felt good, you know. I
I
was like,
did
that's a
not.
good movie, but I was like, you're dead.
It was like 2 a.m. and I'd only had popcorn for dinner, and then that happened. And I was just like, this night did not get better.
Honestly, if they just ended with that shot right there for the entire MCU, I wouldn't have been mad. I would have been sad, but I wouldn't have been mad. Like, it was just such a poignant way to end it on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anything that happens from here on out, I feel like they lost a
Oh,
lot.
I'm emotionally done with the MCU.
I'm satisfied.
Yeah, like I don't have any more stake in it, dude. I'm just watching the movies just to watch them at this point. Like,
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I'm really excited for like conceptually for things that are gonna come afterwards.
yeah.
But we've been following Thanos since the first Avengers movie.
Yes.
So I'm like, what now? Who's worse?
These next few steps are crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you say like Galactus and all that, like Ollie's right. It's been like 10 years building up Thanos. You're gonna spend another 10 years building up a dude who eats
They
planets.
got to nail the Eternals. Like, is they got to get
Yeah.
like some Guardians of the Galaxy types of success for these people
Mhm.
because what the next phase is pretty intergalactic based kind of stuff.
Why don't they? Is Eternals coming late into Phase 4 or early?
No, it's
No,
coming
it's
next
one of
year.
the first ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's good.
2020.
That's good.
It's going to be the second movie because the next one's Black Widow in May, and then Eternals that fall, next fall.
It's gonna be like their Avengers, essentially.
And
Yeah.
so they did such a good move by like moving to like TV and stuff. Like Disney Plus couldn't have come out at a better time.
Honestly, it gives them so much creative freedom. Like they don't have to make a movie for everything. They could just like do like a little series for maybe a small character that'll come into the MCU later.
But like Captain America and the
Winter
Winter
Soldier.
Soldier and the Falcon, like
Yeah.
that, like that's cool.
That's
I
cool.
think they're like buddy cop. That would be neat, but I don't want to waste 2 hours just
Right.
like being like I'm gonna make a quip.
Yeah,
All right.
honestly.
I thought he was captain now. Why is he still the Falcon?
Oh my gosh.
Wait, why is he still the Falcon? He has the shield.
That's a
Yeah.
good question.
I
So
mean-
He earned that.
Yeah.
before Phase 4 though, let's talk a little bit more about Thanos and Matt Titan himself.
Oh,
Purple.
sure.
Especially the Infinity War version, which I think is a little, well, completely different than the Endgame one.
Oh, yeah.
They
It's
Howard
yeah.
Streaming is
Different
broken.
mentalities.
Because he just subtracted all of his development.
Yeah, and I remember like they were saying how like they brought in like the Thanos who was sitting in the chair for Endgame. That was that Thanos.
That's what I was thinking. Like the Thanos in Endgame is a lot closer to comics Thanos than
Yeah.
Infinity War was. You
But
know.
Infinity War one is better.
I mean, it's a matter of
Endgame
perspective.
one was like, I'm just gonna destroy it all. It's like, wow, that's a cool goal.
There are
It's
so
all-
many versions of
yeah.
Thanos in the comics, though. There's like the one who's sitting on the throne. There's
Mhm.
the one that joins the Avengers at one point.
Oh,
There's baby Thanos.
Yeah.
Stop that. What was that?
He
Was
shoots
that
a
Old
guy.
Man Logan or was
No,
that was Baby Hulk.
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah.
Cosmic Ghost
The
Rider?
Punisher raises Thanos and then realizes this is not gonna work out, and then he shoots baby Thanos. I swear that is how it happened.
That's a story. That's a
Thanos
story.
wears a Punisher t-shirt at a point, and it's like really tight, like they make
It's a
beefcake
shock.
Thanos, and it is just uncomfortable.
Goodness, yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a story.
God,
I was looking
comic
at baby
had to.
Thanos.
People are really allowed to make comics. I just thought about that. They really did that.
Marvel was really
Wait, they
experimental. Yeah.
There he
That's
is.
not from your comic.
No,
one.
it's not.
That one's one
God,
of
that
those
is
great.
disturbing.
Swole.
He's so
Is he
defined.
like 5?
But like side note on like comics for like when Thanos was a little kid, he came from like obviously like aliens, but it was like normal like human-ish looking people.
You
He was
were-
he was a goddamn mutant. They were like, what is this?
He was
He was a deviant,
Yeah, he was a
wasn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So close to an Eternal.
Yeah.
Okay, but like,
So they'll probably touch on that in that movie too.
Yeah.
in game, he was so strong. He had no Infinity Stones, and he was
Yeah.
whipping a god, the strongest man on Earth, and then guy who just is nanotech. I don't even know what Iron Man is at this point.
He's
He's
dead.
just shooting like
He's
stars.
Wow.
Also, that
Wowzers.
god was dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
That god had a bad week.
Basically, a god and a demigod.
Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was at
Demigod.
he was at his peak at that point.
With Captain America or...
No, Thor, like in terms of strength.
Mm-hmm.
In
What if
Endgame?
we just had 2?
But at the end of Endgame, when like his beard got braided and crap.
How does that work?
So
The lightning braids your
I don't
beard?
know.
braids your beard, but you keep
I
your
mean,
mask.
he's
Yeah.
a god. He can change his image, I guess.
But your friend literally shouted, "Ew!"
Body positivity.
So how do you so like in Infinity War, Thor was like my favorite Avenger by the end of that movie.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
So how did you
Oh,
feel
yes.
when you saw Fat Thor
I
the first time?
felt that.
Because I know that
I felt that, definitely.
Oh, Marvin.
because I know it
I
polarized
got
some
new
people.
It's fine.
It's
Yeah.
basically
When we
what
were
you
at
just said.
when
It's
we were at MomoCon, we saw so many Fat Thor cosplays.
I feel like at a certain point he's like unanimously loved because
Yeah.
like Thor had been grounded, but not to that level
Yeah.
ever before, and that was touching, and I'm glad
Yeah.
they did that
Yeah.
because I feel like if they just kept him like buff, it'd be like, okay, well, get back up off your feet. Why are you so sad?
Yeah,
But now
like-
you have like a further representation of it for him to like
Like-
work with.
All the trauma had finally like caught up to him.
Yeah.
It was-
I liked it.
They turned Thor, I think, in 2 movies. Well, I guess 2 movies. From like the most boring Avenger. Thor: The Dark World, I've never finished. I've never seen it.
I walked out the theater.
Did you?
I walked
You
out the
paid to see it?
theater. I kid you not. I walked out. I was not going to pay to go to a theater that I was falling asleep in.
Oh my god. See, that requires motivation to leave. Like, you actively hated that movie. I don't think I would feel anything enough about that movie to leave it. I would wait for it to finish.
I don't like
I could sleep at home. I was not going to do that in a theater.
the Dark World it's my second less favorite Marvel movie. I don't
What's
know.
your
It's-
least
Least favorite.
Least favorite?
How does it get
Second
worse than
least?
The Dark
Yeah, second.
Oh, we
Okay.
got a big bell right here.
Yeah, we'll talk about the bottom one later. That one's just, it's kind of like, I don't know. Anyways, so,
How bad could it be? What is?
well, it's not like bad, but it's disappointing. I rank them in terms of disappointing, because I don't think really any Marvel movie is like trash. Okay, Dark World is pretty trash. Never mind, take that
Yeah.
back. If I were to say there was a trash list, Thor: The Dark World is at the bottom, but in
It's
terms of
really
disappointment,
bad.
it's second from the bottom. But my main point is that similar to like Age of Ultron, I kind of forget like
Oh my
the
God, Age of
important
Ultron.
stuff that took place in that movie, and like what it means for characters later on.
Yeah.
Because like Thor lost his mom, and I'm like, but that happened in that bad movie, so I kind of just want to forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
you know.
it doesn't have that feel.
Yeah.
It didn't punch.
And also in Thor: The Dark World, that's where Thor and Loki started becoming buds a little bit.
They were
Yeah.
puppies.
But you know, because it was a bad movie, I kind of forget about that until
Yeah.
like Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Yeah. I've only seen Ragnarok out of all the Thor movies, and I missed nothing.
And that means
It's
exactly.
not
If
even
you
that good.
missed nothing and like that movie turned you like made Thor one of the best, that okay, those movies were garbage, and then like Ragnarok is just gold.
Yeah, because we got to see not even Thor, but like Chris Hemsworth as like a character for a couple seconds.
He really, he makes that like
Funny guy.
he is
Yeah.
Thor is like his thing now.
Yeah.
Well, I I'm
Mix
sure
this
Marvel
up.
is thanking God for Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
That movie's
honestly.
apparently 30% is improvised lines.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
That's you know how much that is? Like,
Yeah.
how little is the script?
I wonder how
That's ambitious.
That's
oh my
he
goodness.
really just said, we're here, like, let's just do it.
Honestly.
We got Chris, we got a camera, I have a phone. I'm sure I'll write something in 10 minutes, just go at it.
If you got CGI, it's fine.
We'll CGI it out.
We'll just
Don't-
CGI it out.
Actually, under all of it, it's just t-shirts and shorts and a green screen.
Oh,
That's all it
goodness,
is.
I wouldn't be surprised.
How casual that movie was.
Alright, now I'm dying to know, what's your most disappointing?
Captain Marvel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
I never even saw that.
And there
You
you
didn't
go.
see me.
Yeah, I know.
I heard it was like really meh.
Like I know a lot of people love it though, and I kind of envy those people because like I really wanted this movie to work.
Who loves that
Like-
movie?
It's a lot of people. You know, I don't know specific names. I've met a few, and I won't name names.
I would like you to.
But you don't know them. That's the point.
Yeah, we get ready
And
for
so,
it.
You don't know them, they go to
Yeah.
different school.
They live in Canada.
but you know, and I remember like giving my take, and some people were like, "Dude, you're just sexist," and I'm like, "No."
What?
I'm like, I love Carol Danvers. Maybe not modern Carol Danvers right now in the comics because she's a little.
Miss Marvel's
I haven't
good.
seen her.
Miss
these
Marvel's
days.
great,
Yeah.
but
She's really good.
I love characters who like, because it was kind of almost like an anime thing. I love characters like, yeah, you hit them down and they get back up,
Exactly.
and they were pushing that in the trailers,
The
right?
trailer made it look
Yeah.
so good.
But like in the movie, it was not conveyed right because it's really hard for me I think it's really hard for movies that involve flashbacks to build character. Like a person who like has amnesia
Mm.
and then you want to build their character through flashbacks. That doesn't work for me a lot. It's really hard to do. Like they
Yeah.
barely did it in Man of Steel.
See, I don't think they should have done that at all. I think they started like her as a kid and just like how hard she worked to get
Yeah.
there, and then just like suddenly aliens like
Yeah.
throw that at you.
Exactly.
That
Because
would've
like
been
it
so
doesn't
good.
work because she's already starting out like way before like we had the first Marvel movie, and then we have flashbacks. So it's like, where was any of this?
Yeah,
it feels
exactly.
it feels like a completely retconned movie, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's so weird.
It's just like a moment out of place. And so like at the end or whatever, when she's like talking to the person, she's like, "I am Carol Danvers," and I started laughing at the theater
my
because I'm like, "This is
gosh.
not earned at all."
But like the coolest shots are in the trailer, like the one of like her flashing through time, like her getting up from like her RC car
Yeah.
or whatever, and then like
Like that stuff
falling
is
off the-
cool, but I want more context with it, you know?
I thought it could have been like Top Gun and then like superhero. That would have been neat.
Yeah. I mean, Air Force was all over the freaking what's it called? Marketing for this movie.
But they didn't use it at all.
Can
They
we
used
just
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
can we just acknowledge that back then they wouldn't have let you ride on the side of your like airplane, the actual Air Force. So I don't know why they just let her of all people like put Avenger like on the side of her plane or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know that until after I saw the movie. I was like, wait, that's illegal. Okay.
And don't get me started on how they treated Fury in that movie.
Oh, they
Oh.
really did. They made him Mr. Magoo.
Oh my gosh.
You.
Damn,
She's
I'm
the
really
coolest
glad I
one.
didn't see that movie.
And I hate the cat.
The
I
cat,
hate
the cat.
cat.
Goose?
Goose? Like, they don't explain where he came or
I
he or
don't
she
care.
came from at all. And it just does this weird crap.
He's a typical
And then, spoiler alert, but you don't
It's
watch
okay.
this movie. Like,
It's
this-
okay.
the cat is the reason why Fury like lost his eye.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that bad of a script.
And so,
Really?
like, yes,
You didn't-
Yes,
It was
and the
mild.
cat threw up the Tesseract.
yes,
Like,
exactly.
What is it for?
And
Worst
so I
post-credit
was
scene
just,
of all time.
Honest.
I was like, cause I remember like a scene from one of the Captain Americas, right? Like he like I think he was the Winter Soldier or something, and he's saying like I don't trust anyone anymore. Or blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what? Because of my cat? Really?
That made me so mad.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite lines. I was like, oh, why? But
Yeah.
now, like, we got that explanation.
Exactly.
Freaking Goose.
Dude, that movie and Far From Home made Nick Fury look like Boo Boo the Fool.
They really are just trying to kill Samuel Jackson.
I honestly, right? Like they were just shitting on his character. I was,
Okay, Winter Soldier, he was awesome. Like he had like miniguns and cutting through like concrete. Like that was 6
Yeah,
feet.
and he died in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And then like in the 90s, like wow, aliens.
What?
I did like seeing
What?
I did like seeing Coulson in the movie again. That was fun.
But like Captain Marvel, like she's like lasers and lightning and just headbutting ships. I'm like, that's awesome. And then how do you ruin that?
Exactly. That was such a weird move, a weird like scene for me to watch in Endgame where she's like,
Goes through the
"Hey,
whole
Peter
ship.
Parker." Other than that, she like gets it and just like tries to fly through his ship, but like all the female Avengers that come around her or come
That's
behind her
weird.
and like, oh, she has us or something like that.
Yeah,
And I'm
she-
like, exactly. It's like exactly. I was like, that doesn't work in the same context that it worked in Infinity War.
Right.
Even though there are more of you,
Like,
it was great. It was a cool looking scene,
Mhm.
but I was like, was Carol Danvers supposed to be it or like what?
yeah,
Oh,
like
Brie
this
Larson.
girl,
She's supposed to be, but they really do
this
what?
girl pinning down Thanos makes him take out the Power
So
Stone.
much. Her fighting him was awesome, and they were
Right.
building her like she's the strongest. I'm like, this is awesome, but they made her so OP that they can't use her. They had to like
Yeah.
leave her out of the fight until the end,
Yeah.
and then she's whipping him, and he has to get clever, and I think that's cool. But she
Yeah.
could have just killed him. And been like, oh,
Yeah.
That's how strong she is, and they just let her die. Well, not die. They left her.
Yeah, just like,
And Larson, she's such a good actress.
So
yeah.
She won Best Actress like some years ago.
It was like 3, not long ago.
Oh,
Mhm.
She's so likable and just naturally charming, and you feel none of it. She feels cold and like makes me uncomfortable.
She's trying too hard, man.
you smile.
I don't
Because
think-
she's
I
so
don't think they're
likable.
using
Like
her.
I don't know if she can be that hard of a character that they wanted to make her. So maybe that was it.
But you could even make it casual. Like they just let her be in the next door movie or something, and just let her improvise.
Oh,
and be-
God.
That
Have
would
you
be
seen the
fun.
interviews? I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Yikes.
Oh boy. All right. Well, let's talk about some other aspects of Endgame.
Shit.
What were your like favorite and least favorite characters, or even like parts? I know my favorite character in Endgame was Hawkeye.
Okay.
Everything but the haircut.
I got Ronan haircut.
Don't do
Ronan
that.
is sick.
Don't give me
The fact
hope.
that we got to see Ronan, I know Hawkeye is like such an understated character, and like he got a goddamn bow and arrow, and like he seems useless, but his development is so spread out that I feel like you don't get to see it and appreciate it.
Yeah.
But like when you look back on it, and you're like, wow, he was actually amazing.
Like
Mhm.
Thor's you see all at once, but like Hawkeye's
Yeah.
is over like 10 years. So
He was one of my favorite parts in Age of Ultron. Because that's what
Yeah,
he
great,
that
exactly.
family aspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him in Endgame so much. Like the race to kill yourself. Like yeah, it's hilarious on one level, and then it's also incredibly sad because they
Yeah.
both lost everything,
Honestly.
and the only thing left they have is each other.
I can't remember that Black Widow movie. You're finally gonna show
Cloning.
freaking Budapest.
Yeah.
So honestly, it got to the point where like
Are they really showing Budapest?
Yeah. I got to the point to when they mentioned it in Endgame, and I was like, all right, that's not like funny, just because like I don't know what happened.
See, no, I
So they
just
keep
wanted
talking about it.
I've been laughing at that for years because
Yeah.
like the person who plays Hawkeye again, Jeremy
Oh,
Renner.
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner is like in like some Mission Impossible movies where they go to Budapest and he's like, ugh. I don't know if it's supposed to be a nod or what, but that's all I remember about Budapest. It was hilarious.
I just want every movie he's in from now on till the end of his career. Just like someone says Budapest, he's like, God damn it.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, who's your least favorite character from the movie?
From Endgame,
Yeah.
who was my least favorite character? I never warmed back up to Star-Lord. He was kind of down there.
Nobody.
I mean, I completely understand why he did what he did.
Yeah.
Like, he was torn. He lost everything, and he tried to make things new for himself, and he just lost it all again. I was like, that's gotta be disappointing and very depressing. But,
He's big. When he sees like his love of his life back from the dead, she knees him in the balls and leaves.
honestly,
You know how
honestly.
traumatizing that's gotta
Dude,
be?
yeah.
His dad was a world-killing planet monster, and then the
Yeah.
only person who cares about him kneed him in the balls and left.
It's pretty messed up.
He lost his mom because of his dad. He lost what he thought was his dad. He lost Yondu, who was his real dad.
Yeah.
And then he lost his girlfriend. And I was like, that's
And
to
his
her
family.
father
His new family.
And his new family.
Oh yeah, he watched them all dissolve.
He watched them all
Yeah.
dissolve. You're right. Wasn't he the last out of the?
Well, except Rocket.
Yeah,
It
Rocket.
was-
Rocket, except for Rocket and
But he
Nebula.
wasn't even
It
there.
was him and then Spider-Man.
wasn't there,
on
that's
Yeah,
Nitro.
Rocket just saw Groot die.
Oh
So-
my
Yeah.
god,
Oh.
Rocket. Talk about character development. I think Rocket is understated.
Oh, yeah.
He gets a
Rocket
cool
and
scarf,
Thor.
like that's it.
Rocket, Thor, and Groot.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that
That's
arm.
why I'm so excited for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Because of how Ragnarok like played out. Their personalities in the movies are totally gonna match.
I know he's Rocket and Groot. I think are in the new Thor movie.
Good.
Oh.
And Natalie.
That's
And
great.
we'll get to that later.
Yay. Natalie Portman.
Oh boy.
Favorite
person.
character from
Jesus,
Honestly, like she's likable in real life. I just need to see it on the screen.
honestly. Oh, that's
Is it too much of a cop out if I say my favorite character in Endgame was Iron Man?
No.
No.
Because that's what I was
Honestly,
thinking.
no.
that's what we're all thinking. Yeah.
This whole freaking franchise is like his.
Yeah.
It really
So-
is.
They did his character right.
Yeah. Every Avengers movie came out when Iron Man movies were supposed to come out. The May spot was like his.
Mhm.
What is it? But they like did the original Avengers. They like closed the loop really well on all of them. Like Captain America. Like he's my favorite.
Yeah,
He's my
that
favorite
is-
character
all
in
of
comics.
them were
yeah.
done.
Everything but like Thor, they left him a little open, but they also like
Yeah.
gave him like a closed thing.
Yeah.
The story of Captain America, that is one of the greatest undertakings ever
I
done.
think it's so they did him so much justice.
Because, like, this campy World War II hero, and he's like this heartthrob in 2019.
Yeah.
that
And
character
everyone
is all I
gives
want.
a crap
Yeah.
about. Like, it's really crazy.
He's awesome.
I want them to give Superman the same treatment. Eventually.
You're gonna one day.
You're gonna be waiting.
You throw enough garbage at the wall, something sticks, but like it'll be a lot of garbage.
So
Yeah.
Man of Steel was pretty okay. I liked
Man of Steel by itself is okay, but when
The
I know
ending
that
we
happened
don't-
after,
Nothing happened ever.
Heard.
Not in my mind.
Alright, well,
weather's great outside.
taking off of Endgame, do we want to talk about going forward, Phase 4?
Oh my god.
So-
Alrighty. I got my predictions about who I think the big bad is gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be Galactus.
You know, I think they'll save him for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Doctor Doom. Personally.
I think he's gonna be like a
He's the only villain I
That's
can think of.
that's ambitious for them to
Yeah, Dr.
just come out.
Yeah, Doctor Doom. He's the only villain I can think of that can rival Thanos in terms of like pure villainy. Cause he's so smart, right? And he just somehow finds his way into being in a position of power all the time. Like he got the power of the Beyonders. Like what mortal man can just like finesse his way into being the most powerful being in the universe?
Did you just say
Yeah.
he finessed his way to being God?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Because I don't know if you, like, the Beyonders are literally God. It became God for, like, 7 comics.
Yeah.
It was wild. Like, there was a funky Thor.
Oh gosh.
He did a horrible
they
thing.
gotta establish the first family then quite soon.
Oh, they have to.
The Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Like, I'm really interested how. Okay, so you know the Phase 4 products we see right now. These are still not the Fox properties yet.
Yeah.
So how they integrate them that's gonna be very interesting.
I think Spider-Man's going to stay in the MCU. They're going to go with this garbage.
I don't know if that's up to us.
Within the year, they're
I
going to make
really
another
hope so.
deal.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then he'll at least be in Spider-Verse. And I'm okay with that. I want them to bring Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and then Tom Holland. And then they're just all
You
in the
know,
new Spider-Man. And
I
just
would like to
everybody.
see Tobey Maguire as the Uncle Ben. I've heard like some
That's
rumors
who he was
about that.
supposed to be.
I would like to see that. That would be
Toby
cool.
Holland.
That scared me.
That's
That
really
scared
good.
me. Have you seen that?
Toby Holland? Wait,
Yes.
that's real?
Yes.
I don't want it. Anyway, you can put your
Don't
phone
hurt him
down.
right now.
Oh no, there's no going back.
Because
This
that's
is
what the
not
new
what I wanted.
Spider-Verse was supposed to be, like them slowly, like just throwing more and more Spider-Man at the wall until like it
You
ended.
see this?
And that's how do I turn it off?
Oh,
You see this?
Oh yeah, Uncle Jones. That's right.
He
He made
looks
like
like Jake Gyllenhaal.
he made
Yeah.
Just Gyllenhaal if you had a pill addiction. Jeez.
So Jake Gyllenhaal?
Alright, well moving on.
So just Jake Gyllenhaal. Okay.
Chill.
He's an action friend.
so in
I know you
terms
don't
of
see
Alright,
episodes,
so
yeah, go ahead, man.
Stop.
let's start talking about some of the specific movies that we know are coming out in Phase 4.
Hell yeah.
We
Should
kind
we
of
go
touched
down
on Black Widow.
chronologically?
on
Touched
the-
on
Yeah,
Black Widow,
so-
touched on Thor.
Okay, Black Widow. I
And we
think
touched on
Eternals.
Eternals.
Black Widow. I think they're gonna bring her back. like cloning. That was like that's how they just did it in the comics. Was
Really?
like she was part of a
Yeah.
cloning system.
I really want them to just give like I really want it to just be a prequel story because we have this whole gap for them to catch up to like the time frame.
Apparently
I want
it's
to feel like a
like
John Wick kind of thing where she's like real tactical, does a lot of rolling.
on the synopsis I'm reading, it takes place after Civil War.
Really?
So
What?
right
I
after.
thought it was in the
Really?
90s.
Yeah, I thought it took place like it's almost like her origin type story.
Yeah, I
where
thought
she
she was
met
gonna be a
Hawkeye
ballet
and
dancer.
stuff.
That's what I thought it was too. But that's
Because
Wikipedia
she-
page is saying.
I know there's a scene where she's like fighting like Florence Pugh, who's this really nice actress. I don't know what she played in at this moment, but I've seen some stuff. And
That sounds real sus right
Yeah.
now.
I think what you said about her was
All right, moving on.
I think she's
really nice.
I think she's the main actress in Midsommar.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my
I've seen
god!
that.
All right, we gotta.
I know you're
we gotta
talking about
segue
it.
for this crap.
It's wow. It's
Ari Aster's a genius. That's the bottom
he
line.
is.
So I need to watch
Have you not seen Hereditary?
Hereditary.
Oh my
I need to
god.
watch Midsummer, and that's it.
The only 2 horror movies he's made. Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, I guess to get to that track sooner,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. That's supposed to be like a horror movie.
I can't wait. I want it to be.
I'm very excited.
I want it to be funny, and then like that's how it's supposed to be. Like WandaVision, the show. It's supposed to be like funny and like sitcom at first, and then just gets super dark by the end. And that's what I want. I want it to be funny, and then he goes into a dimension where just everyone's dead,
I think
and then it's like,
Wanda's-
okay, that's the track.
I think Wanda's gonna snap, yo.
I want it to be. Oh, what if they do you know what House of X is?
Yes. Like when she like said like no more mutants.
No.
And, like-
She made the whole world. She changed reality to where everyone was a mutant. Humans were endangered.
Oh.
And then that's just
Oh.
because she like lost two. She had 2 kids, and then they died because they were envisioning her as kid, and they weren't like supposed to exist. And her grief like drove her insane.
Yeah.
And then the end of House of X is like her accepting that, and then she like turns everything back to normal. But it was bad.
That might be what happens here.
Or no, House of M. That's
Yeah.
You know what? What's real? House of X is a thing though.
that's the new one.
Okay,
It's
okay.
happening now.
House of M was insane.
Spider-Man is called.
What was I gonna say?
Oh, you got the actual thing pulled up.
Talking
Yeah.
about
You actually planned
Doc-
this out.
yeah,
right?
Multiverse of
Doctor
Madness.
Strange. Yeah, I'm really curious to see because she's gonna be a big part of that. Might even be the freaking villain in that movie.
That would be cool.
And I'm curious. I'm really just curious how they're gonna treat Doctor Strange's character as a whole. I mean, I've seen some ish.
Yeah, but he's like
He
I think it's
really
gonna be a little.
is.
I want to still
Like,
be.
I mean, the guy's died like over 14 million times.
At
Yeah.
least,
Yeah.
at
At
least.
least.
And seeing like people who he really underestimated Iron Man in the beginning. I was so pissed. I was like, I
Yeah.
just left your movie and I loved you, and now you gotta disrespect the big dog. I don't know, big dog. I don't think I can take it.
He's so like his movie is one of my favorite solo movies. It's
Yes.
so cool, like
Yeah.
the kaleidoscope thing of it.
And then
The
also
kaleidoscope thing of it.
his his
Accurate.
mentor who became evil at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
Baron Mordo?
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
I'm curious how Mordo
He
is going
straight
to
up
play
made a
a
man
part in
paralyzed.
this movie, if at all.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna save him for like 3.
With this title, though, I mean, like the Multiverse of Madness.
Classic.
Like,
I just want him and Wong to hang out.
talk
It's
talk about
Benedict
Paprika.
Cumberbatch and Benedict Wong, and that's just them chilling.
oh wow, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Benedict
Benedict
Wong,
Wong
and
is
his name is Wong.
Yeah, it's Benedict
Yeah.
Wong is such a good actor.
Oh.
He's invited to my wedding.
And so, wait, was Wong?
In Infinity War?
No, did he get decimated? He got decimated, right?
I don't think so.
No, we never saw
They
him
never
dust.
specified.
I never saw him
They
dust.
say people who are still alive. Russo
Yeah.
brother thinks that they're alive.
That Wong
But
was
he
alive.
was, yeah.
He was,
So
he was
maybe he
just
did
so
go to the
important.
That must have been
He
like one of the
wasn't a hero.
worst weddings ever, though.
Huh?
Because Pepper and Tony, they got married, right?
Huh.
Yes.
Oh my god, they had a wedding.
Yeah, after the snap. So
Who
like
did
all
they
the half of their
invite?
friends
Oh.
are dead. So like
Oh.
it was probably like a private ceremony. I would think.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Society.
It is
That's the
with
thing we
court.
should have covered in game. How cool, like everything was just partially awful, like
Mhm.
in the society after. Like San Francisco was just a garbage fire.
Mm-hmm. It was rough, dude.
I want to talk about the blip, but that's like okay.
The blip.
So This is a minor Far From Home thing, but it's not like Spider-Man focus. It's like just the universe as a whole focus. Do you mind if I talk about it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so they gave a term for when the people came back from the decimation. They called it the blip, and so they confirmed that people like they showed up where they like disappeared.
That was
Oh,
So this implies that like if you were in a plane when you were like disintegrated, you got back from the sky.
Wait,
Or
wasn't
if
this?
you were in a boat, you went into the ocean.
Wait.
So like a ton of people still died.
No, but even if it's like you're in that plane,
Yeah.
even if you show back up in the plane again, you're still on top of a dude. Or like, what if that plane's in like a warehouse somewhere?
Like I think it's just like you come back into space that you disappeared at. So if you're like flying over the Atlantic, you're just in the air over
Skydiving.
the ocean.
Yeah, that
So-
was some
Let's hope
logistical
there's
stuff.
iframes.
So Thanos gave them a better death.
Pretty much.
Shh.
Dude,
Man.
that's
What
such a
was that
crappy
for
name.
Thanos?
The blip.
The
It really
blip.
sounds like nothing happened. Not like half of the universe died for like 5 years.
Well, for half of the people, it was like nothing happened though.
But the other half is trauma that
Just
will
like-
last them until they die.
Just like imagine you see yourself, you're going away, and then like a split second later, you're back and you're like falling.
Oh.
That's a bad Tuesday.
That's
Oh shit.
That's a Garfield comic.
I hate Mondays. Oh my god.
So what's the next movie?
I would like to talk about Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings.
Yes.
Because the
Go for
casting
it.
for that seems phenomenal.
It's gonna be so
It
good.
seems gorgeous.
It's
I
what
don't know a lot about the comics, to be
I don't-
honest.
no one does.
Like almost anything. I don't know shit.
They haven't done
to
Shang-Chi
be honest,
yet.
but it looks really good, and I can't wait till like a trailer or a teaser comes out.
From
It's
what
what I
I
appreciate.
remember, I think he's like the best martial artist. Period.
Wait,
Or
who's
something like
playing
that.
them?
Some guy. He's new.
Oh.
I don't know.
I want
Uh,
Danny Yen to be
give him-
because
give
I
him
just like
Justice
Danny
Marvel.
Yen.
10 rings.
Oh
That sounds.
gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
Simu Liu.
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
want this to be what Iron Fist could have been, which is anything
Good.
at all. Iron Fist could have been so good, and they waited. They
Anyone-
made it so bad.
Anyone watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Do you know what's your face? Tyrell's
One person's
the
the
Game
house.
Prince.
Yeah,
That's Iron
that's
Fist.
Iron Fist. Yeah,
I
I know.
had no idea until like I was watching.
He was good in Game of Thrones, and then they just made him dumb as a rock. Like it was frustrating. It was like Goku levels of just
Damn.
for 5 seconds. Think about what's happening.
This kid who like knows a little bit of Dragon Ball, I like it.
That's
I like it.
I saw the Broly movie, and
That's-
I was pissed off even then. The only thing he can do is hit a person, and he's somehow the greatest,
Yeah, and hitting people.
Yeah.
Well, I
The
mean,
greatest
Broly's
at
pretty
hitting
good at it too.
and it works.
Yeah.
Alright, we're not talking about Dragon Ball right now.
Yeah. I could
Shang-Chi
go on a
could be
rant.
so good. It's just a martial arts movie, and they've made the Ten Rings is like they've slowly got into it.
Oh, I want to see the man.
Like, he's-
so bad.
In
Yeah.
Ant-Man,
I mean-
there's nods to it. There's like all these. We could make some crazy Illuminati like.
Because
terrorist
that was one of my disappointments with Iron Man 3. There wasn't like a real Mandarin. Because I remember.
Exactly. So are you gonna see your
Well, I mean,
Mandarin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
like,
they
I
were
want to
content.
because like those 10 rings are so freaking cool. Like what he does in the comics and crap.
Mhm.
I want to see that ish in action.
No, I haven't seen the one shot, but I know that the Mandarin is now like the guy who plays as the Mandarin in Iron Man 3 is
Yeah.
back as the Mandarin.
Is it the real Mandarin?
He's the real man. I don't know. It's
So what? He was faking being fake.
he was faking being fake because he's that good of an actor apparently.
What the frick?
And that's their official retcon.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past
Oh my gosh.
That's actually
what's that guy's name?
That's big brain.
it's big gamer time.
Oh,
I wanna see a good
It's
Hulk
Galaxy
movie.
Brain. man.
Galaxy brain.
Oh, this is an Avengers level threat.
You can't make those references. You haven't seen these.
Oh wait, how are you making those references?
Memes?
Memes. I haven't seen the movie, but I saw the meme, and that's just as good.
I mean, that's how I worked out off of Captain Marvel.
There were a meme.
There's so
That's right.
many. There's so many.
The movie just felt like really bad.
Like she was a very likable actress and everything like that. But like when it got to the interviews, it just kind of looked like it fell apart.
Apparently, her and Samuel Jackson are like best friends in real life.
I mean, I wouldn't.
That's why he's in like Unicorn Factory,
I
just
mean,
because.
who wouldn't want to be best friends with Samuel Jackson? That would be lit.
That's a power play.
It's a power move.
Now
right
that's
there.
a power.
Yo, he went to Morehouse.
Did he really?
Boy.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if it's true or not. There's like a story where like he went to Morehouse and then he like threatened like the. I'll finish it. But he like threatened like the board of directors or something like with a gun. Like he just came and threatened the board of directors and he got expelled or some shit.
And that's how he got into Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. That's how it happened.
All right, well, I think that'll wrap things up for this episode. Thank you everybody for listening. Love you. Hope you stay safe. All right, Fig Bell's out.
Yeah.